Investigations, alerts, breaking news.
A baby less than a day old found dead in a dumpster. Authorities now release brutal details about what caused the baby's death. A woman succumbs to flu-related complications, how her death could have been prevented, and what her mother wants you to learn from the tragedy. And is there a nuisance issue in downtown Bakersfield? Some store owners believe there is, why merchants are pleading for the city's help.
Broadcasting live in high definition. This is KBAK Eyewitness News at 6.
A raid at an East Bakersfield funeral home results in the confiscation of numerous bodies.
Reporter Jonathan Gonzalez is on the scene with the latest. Jonathan?
Courtney, Bakersfield police are now investigating 9 bodies that were found here at the Beloved Care Funeral Home on Brundage Lane. They discovered the bodies over the last 2 days. They've also opened up a financial investigation into the home. Now, we spoke to a man, we tried to speak to a man that was working inside. He obviously didn't want to speak with us, but we know that multiple agencies did assist in the raid. The bodies are now in the possession of the Kern County Coroner's Office. The whole thing came from a tip from a consumer complaint. What we don't know is how long the bodies were being stored and if the bodies' families have been notified about the storage, the improper storage. Again, this is a developing story, so all the information is still coming to us. And of course, as soon as we get it, we'll get it to you. Live in East Bakersfield, I'm Jonathan Gonzalez, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Well, Bakersfield business owners want more help to deal with beggars.
Downtown merchants are asking for a new city ordinance to deal with panhandling. Eyewitness News reporter Carol Ferguson gives us a look at why and what do they want, Carol?
Well, we're here in front of City Hall, and within the last 30 minutes, the Downtown Business Association made their pitch. And immediately, Councilman Terry Maxwell, who's chairman of the council's Legislative and Litigation Committee, said he wants to take this issue up in that subcommittee. The DBA members say there's more panhandling recently, and it's getting more aggressive, and they ask, what can be done?
It went from friends' couches to tent to it slowly progressed to where I'm at now.
We spot Kyle Gilliam in the area of 23rd and 24th Streets in Bakersfield, and nearby are somebody's possessions.
I panhandle too, but it's just to get what I want to satisfy me at that time.
This area is one the Downtown Business Association worries about with all the panhandlers.
Where I'm afraid to take my kids to go get gas.
DBA Chairman Jeff Hayward takes their concerns to city leaders.
To ask the City Council to develop an ordinance like many of our sister cities up and down the valley, where panhandling on private property is illegal.
I'm a little surprised that there would be an ordinance. I do think that there needs to be education.
The mission helps the homeless, and Director Carlos Baldovino says homeless people need help from organizations like his. And
not every panhandler is homeless. There may be people that are professional panhandlers that may not be homeless at all.
He says showing up in our community, hearing that people here are giving. But giving money?
They could use those panhandling dollars to help out with their addiction.
Up to 2/3 of these folks suffer from alcohol or drug addiction. And every time they ask for money and I give them money, I'm just killing them.
He also says giving money is a bad idea. This woman in a wheelchair appears to beg at a stoplight. Now, people have a right to ask in a public place. Hayward says the DBA wants an ordinance to protect freedom of speech.
We have to protect the business owners, and we have to define or find out what people actually need help.
Now, once again, the decision was just made that this idea should be forwarded to the subcommittee on legislation and litigation, the Leg and Lit Committee. And chairman of that is Councilman Terry Maxwell. He invited everyone who is interested in this situation to come to that committee. And, of course, we'll let you know what happens next. We are live in downtown Bakersfield. Back to you.
Thank you, Carol.
Meantime, the H1N1 flu virus is sweeping the nation, and Kern County has reported 2 flu-related deaths so far this year. Eyewitness News reporter Caitlin Reardon spoke with the mother of one of the women who died. Caitlin?
Kurt, April Dunlap's mother, Tracy, says her 30-year-old daughter was really just beginning her life. She had recently graduated from CSUB with a degree in art history and was working in the art department at a Walmart in Delano. But about a month ago, she fell ill. On December 9th, April Dunlap said she wasn't feeling well and then collapsed at work. She went home sick, and after 2 days of not getting better, she went to go see a doctor. April was diagnosed with pneumonia and treated. Then she was told if she didn't feel better within the next few days, to come back.
We were at home. We took her temperature. It was 104. So we went back on Friday and said she's not getting any better.
April received stronger antibiotics and a breathing treatment. But with no improvement in her condition, her family took her to Kern Medical Center a few days later.
She was there, I'd say, probably for about a week before they diagnosed her with the H1N1.
For 2 weeks after her H1N1 diagnosis, doctors and nurses at KMC treated April with oxygen treatments and antibiotics to prevent other infections, even trying an experimental drug used in another part of the country. She was kept under heavy sedation during her stay.
I let her know that I was there, and her arms started to raise, and she knew I was there.
But in the early morning hours of January 7th, April's body couldn't take it anymore.
And all of a sudden, her blood pressure went so low and she was gone. There was just no way to repair what the virus did to her. They tried their best.
Tracy recalls that just a month before, her 30-year-old daughter was perfectly healthy and that they never expected their lives to suddenly be shattered.
Parents are not supposed to bury their kids.
Tracy's message now is to let everyone know how important the flu shot is. The vaccines are widely available and affordable, and perhaps if her daughter had gotten one, her family wouldn't be planning her funeral.
It could have prevented her death. That's the only thing.
Now, a 62-year-old Kern County woman has also passed away from the flu this year, and more than 30 people have been hospitalized. Courtney?
Thank you, Caitlin. Kern County Sheriff's deputies have determined the cause of death for a baby found dead in an Oildale neighborhood trash bin. Reporter Tom Murphy has more on the homicide investigation. Tom?
Courtney, the baby girl, was found June 21st on Beardsley Avenue. Today, deputies announced the cause of death listed as blunt force trauma, thermal burns, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Investigators say the baby was less than 1 day old and that she was likely placed in the dumpster either the night before or the morning she was found. The baby was later named Gabriella and was buried in the Garden of Innocence at Union Cemetery. The homicide investigation is ongoing. Ray Pruitt with the Sheriff's Department says they've followed up on dozens of tips and leads from the community, but right now investigators admit they've kind of hit a brick wall.
We have not identified the parents of the child. We've not been able to identify the child. So at this point, we're kind of at a standstill in the investigation. We are asking for the public's assistance, the community's assistance in helping us solve this case.
Deputies believe somebody in the community knows who this child was or who the child's parents are. If anyone can point them in the right direction, they're asked to call 861-3110. And just as a reminder, if you have a child and determine for whatever reason you can't care for it, a newborn can be left at any hospital or any fire station with no repercussions. Now let's toss it over to Miles in the Weather Center.
And things are looking a little bit better in the Weather Center, Tom. We do have slightly better air quality, and just over the past couple of hours, our air quality has gone from unhealthy to poor, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups, right now at 145 on the AQI. At least that's the right direction. And winds picking up a little bit in some spots, especially in the mountains. Our temperature now 53 degrees with some high clouds outside. Temperatures in the 50s now in the valley, 40s in the mountains, and coolest of all there at Pine Mountain Club currently at 38 degrees. It's 53 in town and 53 up the valley as well in Fresno and in Hanford along the coast in the 50s, and coolest in the mountains, coolest of all in Tehachapi, where a little bit of the haze here from the valley has made it through Tehachapi Pass and brought their visibility down. You can see the winds there out of the northwest at 15, but at least it is pulling some of that haze here out of the valley, so our air quality is not as bad as it was. It's a trough of low pressure coming through as well. So temperatures tonight will be cool. We'll drop down through the 40s to about 37 degrees first thing in the morning, with partly cloudy skies, and in the Kern County mountains turning breezy and then just plain windy tomorrow. as this trough comes on through. Temperatures dropping into the 30s tonight, right around freezing. It'll be a cool day tomorrow. The full forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Miles. An initiative to repeal transgender students' rights will have to wait another month to find out its fate. Today, Secretary of State Deborah Bowen announcing a full count of signatures to overturn a transgender law that will be held next month now. The state needed more than 479,000 signatures to advance the process. It received more than 482,000 to push for a ballot that would overturn the law that allows transgender students to choose which bathrooms they use on school campuses. Each county now has until February 24th to verify each signature. If the referendum qualifies, it will be placed on the November ballot.
The case has been continued for the Taft High School teenager accused of shooting a classmate. Brian Oliver is charged with attempted murder and assault with a firearm. He's accused of shooting Bo Cleveland nearly a year ago. Today, his readiness hearing and trial date were continued until May. Oliver faces 25 years to life in prison if convicted.
A man arrested in connection with a shooting in South Bakersfield. 33-year-old Francisco Garcia Venezuela of Bakersfield charged with attempted murder. Investigators say he opened fire on Sunday at an apartment complex on Karma Court near Pacheco Road and Monitor Street. They say one person was shot several times and hospitalized with moderate injuries.
A mother may be facing kidnapping charges after she allegedly took her kids from school. Sheriff's deputies say the woman took her 2 kids out of Beardsley Elementary School, which was a violation of a custody court order. She also took her other 2 children, which she does have custody of, out of the school. They say she then took them to her home, huddled them together with a pit bull, and refused to allow deputies to check on the children. Deputies called animal control to secure the dog, and the mother was taken into custody.
Ducking for cover, a homeowner is on edge after a bullet comes crashing into his home. How he explains the frightening turn of events.